He smirked while signing the divorce papers, until the judge exposed my $18 million secret empire. Ebony sat quietly in the courtroom, her hands trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the emotional weight of what was ending. Across from her, Musa leaned back in his chair, relaxed and self-assured, like a man convinced he had already won. He tapped his pen twice, then signed the divorce papers with a careless flick, letting out a low, satisfied chuckle. Finally, he muttered, "I'm free from your dead weight." The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. Even the silence felt heavier, as if the walls themselves absorbed the cruelty of his words. Just as the judge was about to proceed, he paused and adjusted his glasses. "Before we continue," he said calmly, "there is one final financial matter to address." At first, Musa's smirk remained. But as the judge continued speaking, it slowly faded, then disappeared completely. Because Ebony was not leaving that courtroom empty-handed. She was living with power, wealth, and control, far beyond anything Musa had ever imagined. Ebony met Musa when she was only 22, young, hopeful, and deeply in love. She believed in building something meaningful together. From the beginning, she gave him everything. Musa had big dreams. He wanted to build a tech company and make a name for himself. Ebony stood beside him through every uncertain step. She had dreams too, a fashion brand she used to sketch endlessly in her notebooks, but she pushed them aside. In her heart, his success was their success. She worked long, exhausting hours at the bank during the day, then came home to cook, clean, and support him emotionally. When they struggled to pay rent, she didn't complain. She quietly sold her jewelry to keep them afloat. To her, this was love. This was partnership. If he rises, we rise together, she told herself. She never saw her sacrifices as weakness. She saw them as investments in a shared future. She trusted that one day, her loyalty and effort would return to her. But what she didn't realize was that while she was lifting him up, Musa was slowly erasing her from the story. Ebony wasn't blind. She stayed quiet, but she noticed everything. When Musa's app finally succeeded, everything changed overnight. Media outlets called him. Conferences invited him. Money began to flow. And as his world grew, her place in it shrank. The man who once proudly held her hand now walked ahead of her as if she didn't exist. At events, he stopped introducing her as his wife. Instead, he would casually dismiss her. "She just helps around," he'd say. No one knew the truth, that she had stayed up nights helping shape his ideas, that she sacrificed her dreams to support his. To others, she became invisible. And it hurt. But she stayed silent. She watched. She listened. She remembered. Then one night, everything changed. At a gathering with his friends, Musa laughed loudly, soaking in attention. Then he said something that cut deeper than anything before. "Ebony," he scoffed. She was just a face. The room filled with laughter. No one noticed her standing there. No one saw her fingers tighten around the tray in her hands. No one saw her word crack in that moment. She felt erased. But she didn't cry. Not there. Not in front of them. She stood still, absorbing every word, every laugh, every ounce of humiliation. And inside her, something shifted. Beneath the pain, something else began to rise. A quiet, dangerous fire. Musa didn't see it. But Ebony was waking up. That night, she couldn't sleep. Musa returned home late and took a call in the living room. His voice carried down the hallway. She didn't intend to listen, but something in his tone stopped her. He was laughing. Then he said it. "Ebony. She's sweet, but I deserve better now. Someone on my level." Everything inside her went still. Her heart didn't break loudly. It shattered in silence. No tears. No screams. Just a cold realization. Slowly, she walked into a small room, the one that used to be hers. Her creative space. It had been 6 years since she touched the laptop in the corner. 6 years since she abandoned her dream of becoming a fashion designer. That night, she opened it. Dust rose into the air as it powered on. She searched through old folders until she found one labeled Dream Designs by Ebony. Her hand paused, then clicked. There it was. Her past. Bold sketches. Vibrant designs. A version of herself she had buried, but never lost. For the first time in years, she smiled. Not out of happiness, but recognition. That folder wasn't just work. It was her identity. The real her. She didn't confront Musa. She didn't argue. Because something inside her had already changed. If he thought she wasn't enough, fine. She wouldn't beg. She would rise. For the next 18 months, Ebony lived a double life. By day, she remained the quiet, invisible wife he expected. But at night, she rebuilt herself. While Musa slept, she walked, sometimes until sunrise. She studied, designed, learned, and built her fashion brand from scratch. No one knew. Not even him. She created under a different name, something bold, something untraceable. She launched her first digital fashion line. At first, it was small. Then others came in. Then more. People began to notice. Praise poured in her originality, her vision, her designs. All while she remained invisible in her own home. Meanwhile, Musa started a podcast. He loved talking about success. And sometimes, mocking women. These so-called female founders, he laughed, they're just plain dress up. Ebony would sit nearby, pretending to scroll her phone. Listen. The irony. The woman he mocked was already becoming everything he claimed she couldn't be. His words hurt. But she turned that pain into fuel. Every insult sharpened her. Every dismissal strengthened her. She wasn't doing this for revenge. She was doing it to reclaim herself. One afternoon, Ebony brought Musa his favorite meal to his office, hoping for a small moment of connection. But when she arrived, he wasn't there. His secretary looked up and smirked. Her hand rested on a visible baby bump. Ebony froze. So you're the wife, the woman said. He told me you were a sick cousin. The words hit hard. But Ebony didn't react. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply nodded and walked away. Because something inside her had finally snapped. Not her heart. But her attachment. Outside, she took a deep breath, pulled out her phone, and made a call. It's time. When Ebony filed for divorce, Musa laughed. He believed she would come back begging. He assumed she had nothing. He even planned to deny her alimony just to teach her lesson. What he didn't know. She had been preparing for this moment for 18 months. In court, Musa walked in confidence, dressed in luxury. She has nothing, he whispered. Then Ebony's lawyer placed a thick file on the desk. Inside. Bank statements. Contracts. Ownership documents. At the center of it all. ABN Studio. A fast-growing fashion company valued at $18 million. The room shifted. Musa froze. The name felt familiar. Then it hit him. She was behind it. The woman he ignored. The one he called a face. Had built an empire right under his nose. ABN Studio, it's yours, he whispered. Ebony turned calmly. No anger. No pain. Just quiet power. It always was, she said softly. You just never cared enough to ask. That truth hit harder than anything else. Because it wasn't just about business. It was about everything he failed to see. And yet, Ebony didn't take everything. She didn't want the house. Too many painful memories. She didn't want his money. She had her own. She walked away with something greater. Peace. Dignity. And her empire. 6 months later, Musa sat in a waiting room. He flipped through a magazine. Then froze. There she was. On the cover. Confident. Powerful. Unrecognizable. The headline read, Africa's most mysterious fashion queen revealed, Ebony, the silent storm. He stared, stunned. She hadn't just survived. She had risen. Meanwhile, Ebony stood in a hotel suite, preparing for her next destination, Paris. Her assistant showed her the magazine. She glanced at it, then smiled faintly. They thought I was quiet, she whispered. But I was just focused. This was never about proving him wrong. It was about proving to herself that she had always been enough. And now, the world finally knew her name. Not as someone's wife. Not as someone's shadow. But as her own force. Ebony. The woman who rose from silence. And became the storm no one saw coming.